everybody lives in North America here, right? We don't have everybody living outside of the North American continent. So the laws are pretty much consistently the same here. They're generally hostile towards the person that's the breadwinner in the household. They generally protect the person that gives birth. I'm not going to say person, but the mother. They generally protect the mother. I don't like these terms, person of birthing capabilities or some shit like that.
Birthing
Mothers,
person.
yeah, birthing person or some garbage like that. Mothers are generally protected. Um, if you were dating a guy that you like, you dig his vibe, you want to claim him, you've had the where do we stand talk, other guys are invisible to you, you want to be with them, but he starts setting some boundaries around how you're going to live your lives together, maybe separately and together sort of thing. I've seen versions of, I mentioned earlier, like I've seen versions of people trying to blend their lives, but they still keep a separation to it because it just seems to work better for a variety of reasons. Is that something that you ladies would make a concession on, or would it have to be like a conventional one man, one woman, one household, children all together? Like, are you open to concessions? Is that
I,
something that you would
I
look
mean,
at?
like, I feel like it's every person that you're with, or like, especially because I'm single, every person that I'm gonna date, or like I have been on dates with, like they're all different. And so, like, yes, like I've gone on a couple dates with one guy, and like I'm starting getting to know him. Obviously, I don't know him like really that well, but from what I'm getting from him is I could honestly, far down the road, I could honestly, like, we would be a team, like it would be whatever we both want. And I would, love to hear what he has to say, and then I feel like he would do the same.
Okay, so let me rephrase that a little bit differently, sort of like deal with the subject matter of like the team, right? Um, are men and women equal? Like, are we the same
Um,
when it comes
if you want to
to
say it like
long-term
that, yeah,
relationships, marriages? Yeah,
but when you get into
we
the
are.
details, but when you get into the yes, we are equal.
Okay.
If you want to say it just flat out like that, but
Yeah.
at the same time, there are things men do better in stats, or there are things that women do better or can do better, and so it's just like everyone has their weaknesses, everyone has their
Yeah.
strengths, and I feel
When
like
you say
that.
team, though, like teams have different players. You've got, like in football, you got quarterbacks, you got the kicker, you got the coach, you got the assistant coach. Like, everybody has a role. So if you could be a little bit more definitive in the role of the team members, like for him and for her, like what are the roles?
Again, I feel like it's different with each relationship, but for like me, what I've gone through is, you know, it's we're more like host, or like I don't even know how to say that, but like um we're each other's partners. Like we should be. Um, there's no captain or co-captain. We're both co-captains. Like there's different.
But
We'll
there's
have to
one steering
compromise
wheel in a
both
car and
ends.
there's a passenger seat for shotgun. So where do you sit?
I'm sorry. What was that?
But there's one steering wheel in a
Oh.
car and there's a passenger seat for shotgun. So where do you sit in that car?
If I don't feel like driving that day, I'll sit in the passenger. But if he doesn't feel like driving that day, he can sit in the passenger. It's
So
kind of
you're
like,
saying the roles can swap, like,
yeah, of course.
okay,
Yeah, it all depends on the relationship.
got it.
And if you have to, I feel like I don't like the happy wife, happy life, or I don't like the king. I mean, I
Yeah,
liked
yeah,
that one, but
yeah.
like just
Let
like
me
you don't hear any men saying that, but it's like,
Okay, let me just stop you for a sec. Put that thought on hold, Moff. I know you got something. Laura, when you go out with your guy, who ends up driving the car?
Oh, him all the time.
Gia, when you go out with your guy, who ends up driving the car?
Absolutely him. Will not let me drive.
Selma, if you get married, who ends up driving the car?
Oh, him.
Kaylee,
Him, passenger princess all the way.
passenger princess. Moff, go ahead.
No, I mean, I saw Gia nodding and I wanted to get to her, but I had a question for Kelly. It's, this is often something I try to float to somebody that says it's 50-50 or there's equal decision-making power sort of in a relationship. But let's say the two of you are at complete odds with one another and you're not going to change your position. He's not going to change his position, and they're the complete opposite. how does a decision get made in that scenario?
So I've actually, my engagement that was broken off, we got in many fights towards the end, and we didn't come to a conclusion, and it was embarrassing. Sometimes it'd be at restaurants or something like that, or it'd be just like hurtful. And so I found out after, rehashing that whole relationship in my brain as I was trying to get over it, as I am still trying to get over it. He walked away, or I would walk away. I can't say that I was perfect, or I'd walk away. We wouldn't communicate. Even if there was no decision that was made, we wouldn't communicate. But I feel like communication is key. I know that's so like cliche and stupid to say, but communication really makes or breaks everything. Like it's
right. But let's say you're communicating. Like it seems like the answer in this scenario is that the relationship self-destructs.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You've got two people that are making their positions known. You sit down, you give your argument for the decision that you think should be made. He gives his argument, well thought out and cogent for the decision he thinks should be made. And there you two are on complete opposite sides of the coin. So you're saying a decision doesn't get made and that the only answer is that the relationship blows up. I mean, how does a decision get made? How do you choose to move forward? How does that path manifest itself?
Where I've just kind of like given in. And I just am like, okay. But then I eventually, the relationship ends. Like my engagement, like there was a lot of times because I left him so much. We dated when we were kids. We met 10 years later. We thought it was fate. And he was the love of my life. And it was very toxic and ugly towards the end. I recorded a lot of our videos of him just screaming at me. So a lot of times I just sat there and I just took it, and it was wrong of me. I'm definitely, a lot tougher, but from that, but it was just like a lot of times I just had to compromise. And I'm not saying that that only happens with women. I mean, men do that too. So I agree. I mean, I feel like it's not okay. We're equal, yes, but it can fluctuate on certain things. Either you can do better, or your opinions on.
So should a marriage be led by somebody?
No,
it shouldn't. What do you think?
I mean, at times, yes. Kaylee? At times, yes, but not in the whole situation all the time. Like, I mean, I love being the passenger princess. Don't get me wrong, but like, if sometimes I like to drive, I like to be in control. So it's like
no, but I'm asking, generally speaking, like in a marriage, like should there be a leader? Like should somebody lead that relationship?
I feel like
I'm asking.
I really don't. Yeah, I don't think there should be, because y'all should. Again, y'all are co-captain, and everything. If you communicate, then there doesn't have to be a leader.
Okay, what about Selma and Kaylee? Like, what do you think about that notion? Like, is there somebody that should lead that relationship, and if so, who?
Yeah, I mean, I get that there is balance in every connection, and things change day to day, different seasons, things can change. But I personally, I want my man, my masculine, to be in his leader role and let me be in my feminine role. Like, that doesn't mean that I don't take control and have a stance and share my communication and thoughts and needs and everything like that. But I think it's more natural for a guy to just be that leader and let me, and I'm still leading in my feminine, but it's just in a different way, if that makes sense. And just let him be that more dominant role. I think there's always a dominant and submissive energetics going on. It's constantly at play, and I get that can switch up, but I think it's just more natural for the guy to be.
Okay. Selma, what do you think? You've got some strong opinions tonight.
I always tell people I'm looking for a man that allows me to step into my femininity. So the old saying of the man is the head of the household, but the woman is the neck. That's kind of, I think, a perfect example of kind of what especially younger generational women, they tend to think that, in a marriage, if a man is the head of the household, it takes all of your power, but that's not what a successful dynamic is. So I would say I believe in men being the head of the household and making the primary mover decisions, and the woman is responsible for the secondary mover decisions.
So he's got a degree of authority in the household and responsibility to it then.
Yeah. And I think there's also you were mentioning earlier, I thought it was interesting, about if a man said something and you were disagreeing, who would basically win that argument kind of sense. And I think it's interesting to hear that because I have cultural differences as well. Like my father is Pakistani, and most of the men that I partner with are all Muslim. And in those cultures and in that type of society, it's very much patriarchal and very much like they make the decision. That is the way that it is, even via the government, every aspect of life. So then to see, like, even you asked if we're all in North America, so to see how that conversation is so different is interesting.
I really hope you guys enjoyed that clip. If you want to watch the full-length podcast, you can find that over here, that clip's from. If you're newer to the channel, make sure you hit subscribe over here, and pin down below in the top comment, you'll find a bunch of useful links to my website, my supplement line, books, and a bunch of other stuff. Have an amazing day. Peace out.